What's up, everybody? It is Giant Daner here. Um, First video, I wanted to do an unedited version of me just playing events and basically going through my MLB The Show time playing from when I started and to now. Um, so basically, it's gonna be unedited, just playing events. I don't want to play a ranked game because I kind of have to focus and pay attention to that. I want to be able to really focus on communicating. Um, but Jack Robinson. I'm sorry. Okay. So basically, I went from not being able to touch the ball like at all when I first started, and I started out with Show 21. I was an Xbox player, obviously. Always have been, and so we did have MLB The Show all the way up until 21, and it was on Game Pass. Remember it came out, tried it, and I was awful, like really bad. And basically, what ended up happening is I just kept playing. I actually watch a lot of YFK videos, your friend Kyle, and it's kind of how I got better. Um, Basically, practicing, doing the setup and everything like that. Because I mean, I couldn't even touch the ball on All Star. Like it was really bad, and I was basically to a point where um I mean I was just getting games losing and at one point my record was awful in 21. It was so bad. I think the highest rating I got in 21 was probably like maybe 710. Um and I my advice to that is the entire time I was doing that, I mean, I was just playing, because in my head, I've always said about NBA Show is that it is the highest power curve of any sports game. There's like, if you can't hit the ball, you can have all 99s. You can't hit that ball, you're not gonna win. And that's actually made me fall in love with the game is that you can have a subpar team and still, you know, and still win against a God Squad. Now, I also like to know my aspect of the game, um, because I love grinding, getting all my cards, everything like that. So basically, my advice for it is that I just kept playing, and I was down like I think at the end of that year I was like 271 and like 450. It was really bad. And but by the end of 21, I started to hit All Star relatively enough to where I could hold my own, and that was everything. Now 22 came out, and when 22 came out, that was game changing. Um, because one, I worked at FedEx at the time, and during that time I worked at FedEx, I actually only worked like 3 10s a week, so I had a lot of time to just play. And I remember I was in the practice arena because I could never hit sliders. So I would watch sliders thousands of times until I understood how the pitch came out. And I got to a point where I was starting to get to All Star about the start of 22, and I was starting to get to like 700 ratings. This is back when World Series was 900 rated. And once I got to Hall of Fame, I started just practicing hitting Hall of Fame, practicing. Once I got to Hall of Fame, like was not touching the ball again. And I'm basically saying there, like, um, God, I can't, you know, I'm back at square one. I couldn't hit an All Star, now I can't hit on Hall of Fame. So, I just went back to the grind and took a lot shorter because, I had a good grasp of the game and understanding, timing and when the ball was going to come out and everything like that. Well, then I want to say about midway through 22 is when I really hit my stride. Um, It was the first time I got to World Series, certainly a legend. And I don't know why, but I will say that I do think that even though I barely playing Legend this year. Because I've been basically like I get to 800 and then I get busy and we get classic hits. I'm a full time worker, so it's a lot harder to put my time into the game and grind for 1,000 rating or 900 rating. Because every time I get time to play, there's new content. So, and I want to grind that out. And I know the content like has been very spacious this year, but I get on and I just try to get done with all the content, and then I go on about my day. So basically, at 22, I hit Legend, and when I really knew that I was getting good, it was about like the later half of 22. Not when it was dead, but right in that sweet spot where like there was still a very good player base. Like about the end of August and September, is basically a good way to say where I was at, and it basically turned into I was matching up against really good players. Like a few nine, well, 199 real I played against. I remember Luis Garcia, and that was kind of the game where he's a 1,000 rating MLB player that plays the show, and I think I beat him by like 1 run, and that was the time I was like, okay, like I'm feeling like I'm actually able to play against some really good players, and then my friends always make fun of me about this, but the 22 was also the time I played Zazzy. I remember I played Zazzy. I was at World Series, and I played Zazzy, and I remember I don't remember the final score, but I just remember we went to extras. And if you don't know, Zazzy is basically the number one player in Canada. I don't know if he still is, but at the time he was the number one player in Canada. He actually played Kreiner that year in the tournament and lost in the final. So he came second in like the big MLB Show tournament. And I remember I lost on 1 run, and my boy always says like, "Oh, Zazzy got you as my rival." He's always, always a word play. And basically that's when I was like, okay, feel like I'm really good at the game now. And then basically 23 hit. I was basically still a World Series player, but I wasn't playing nearly as much as I was before. I think that was because that was during like a hard time in my life, going through a lot of stuff, switching jobs, and trying to get everything back in order, basically. But during that time, I do know I did play Demu, actually in the famous Bubba Thompson video that he uploaded, and now he's always. I was like, God, I got embarrassed because I lost him. He had Bubba Thompson. Bubba Thompson actually had like 3 hits against me. I was like, oh my God, what is going on? So then I basically from then on, 23 is basically me World Series. I was playing a lot of Legend during that time. Never got to 1,000 rating. I always got to like 950, and then I just always slump, always slump. Um, but then 24 came out. I only played half the year 24. I don't know what it was. I did not like 24 at all. Did not like the content. I didn't like anything about 24. And it was just I just I couldn't like the game. Let's say I played like maybe a month, and then I quit. And then when 25 came out, 25 basically honestly like the hardest point in my life. The game came out, and 3 days after the game came out, my father passed away, like unexpectedly. And I mean, I was his caretaker, so like put two and two together of like who found him. But basically during the time of that, I was basically like planning a funeral, having to figure out like where I'm gonna live at, um, because I didn't want to live in a house anymore since like I was his caretaker, taking care of him. Like I wanted to like move on and like just get in a better mind state. Well, that was like maybe a 5 month journey of like just trying to get everything figured out and someone get my life put back together. Well, then I mean there was a lot that just happened last year that was just really life changing. I'm not gonna go in detail about it. Maybe some other time, maybe on a stream or something, or maybe a video. But basically, um, then 26 came out when I was in a stable living condition and everything like that. And I mean, I was like right back committed to wanting to play 26. Um, my skill came back like really, really fast. I mean, I was World Series Season 1, went 6-0, my first weekend classic. Um, then the second um, season came out, weekend classic, was just absolutely just destroying people. And I actually went 4-2. I'm right. Yeah, I watched 2 games. One was a close. They went to extras, and then one of the games I just played awful. Well, the dude just absolutely played me. I'm not gonna lie. Um. So then, and then recently, I was like, my cousin was like, you're really good at the show. Like, you should give streaming a try. And I was like, I've always wanted to, but I've never had the equipment. And he was like, I think you should just try to see where it goes. You're funny, um, and you're entertaining. And he's like, I should know. He's basically a brother to me. He's 1 year older than me. And I was like, so I just randomly like one day was like, you know what, just screw it. Let's get some stuff, see where it goes, basically. And this is honestly, I think the second week I've been doing this. So my second video, because I'm kind of still like learning how to like edit and you know do all the streaming stuff because I've never done it. I've just watched streamers, and basically I always watch LB show. Streamers I always have LB show is my game. So basically from there on, I been playing the game. Really enjoy streaming actually. Like I really do enjoy it. It's a breath of fresh air, and I don't know. I just kind of want to see where I grow. If it grows as something big, go ahead. Love that. If it doesn't, and I make a small community or something along the line, like that'd be great. And if it goes nowhere, that was never meant to be. And life's great. So I God put us on this earth. We all have a story or something to do. So no, one of the best things that someone's ever said to me was, it's actually an old coworker at Menards. He basically told me, you should always hope for the best, expect the worst, everything in between is a blessing. And I remember I was like, you know what, that's it right there. Like I went by that to this day. Don't know what's going on right now in the game. That's kind of my piece of advice for people in life. You should never take anything too seriously. I mean, like take things seriously, but don't stress about things that are outside of your control. It's I understand it's very hard to do that. I had to train myself how to do that, but it, everything works out in the end. Tough times will last forever, and I mean, everything works out. Go with the flow, and really, you put anything to your mind to it, I do believe you can make it happen. You can do it. It just takes the energy to grind. Like for me, I stream on Twitch. Like I said, I don't really get all the time. Where I try to at least do 3 to 4 days a week. I do have a job. Gotta make time for my girl. So, oh man, ooh, sorry, I have a little bit of sore throat. It's actually why I'm not streaming today. I might down. I might do something actually. We'll see. Um, but yeah, it's basically all I really wanted to do today was make a little video, just to like I feel like my first video. I might keep it up, but I don't feel like it was really a good introduction. I think I was just focusing way too hard on the Hall of Fame game, and I even edited it to where you guys are just watching at bats and my strikeout pitches or like the end of at bats. So like that was more of a gameplay. I just really want to show like where I was in that level. If you want to enjoy see what I can offer to if this gameplay is even worth watching. I really should take out Roy Holiday. Actually, I'm not even paying attention. This is why I chose to do this at events. Let's see rolling fingers. All right, come on, let's get this. Just get this game over with. Let's check out. There we go. But basically, in conclusion, that'll be for the video. Appreciate everybody who watches. Like, sub, it's like and subscribe if you enjoy it. I'm also on Twitch, Giant Dinner 431, on Twitch. I do plan on probably starting to do live stream on TikTok as well here soon. And then YouTube, I'm trying to upload at least 3 to 4 videos a week. And, just see what it does. Peace out.